Well, hi there, guys. It's been a while since we've done one of these games with Bobingen, but it's time for us to get straight back into it. So, just so you have sort of an idea of kind of what happened here, it turned out that we had a very, very long in-game layoff. In fact, we had, let's see, our final match before the winter break was December 3rd in game, and then our next match here is going to be February 25th. So we're talking about about 3 months in game of nothing happening. So as a result, it's taken me probably just a little bit under 3 hours to go through everything to get the squad set up and everything like that. Normally you can do that in a single day, but sometimes it can be really difficult to find the time to do all of that. So I'll go ahead and switch us on over here, and we'll go take a look and sort of see what's been going on. So as far as the schedule is concerned, we have had a glut of friendlies. We didn't do very well in them. Most of these are against teams in levels like maybe a little bit above ours, so I'm not too worried about it. The fact that we were actually able to beat our under-19s is kind of a good thing since we lost to them earlier on. Yeah, that's sort of how it is. So we're playing today at home against BSK Olympia Neugablonz. You're wondering why they're called Neugablonz. Well, Gablonz is the name of a city that is the old German name of a city that was in Czechoslovakia at the time, later on in the Czech Republic. At the time, that is, this squad was formed. And anyway, it was this team was formed by a bunch of Czech immigrants who happened to be in this suburb of Kaufbeuren in Bavaria, and so they started sort of their own team, and that's kind of where it comes from. So pretty interesting history there, and also has some interesting sort of political applications and stuff like that. I'm not going to go too deep over all of the changes that we made. There are a couple of names that have gone away because I was trying to sort of balance the finances. We still haven't really done that, as you can see there. Here, let me make sure that you can see my cursor. This is not what I wanted to do. Hold on for a second here. I'll get us back to where we need to be. There we go. So here I am learning the right way to use OBS, right? So this is the problem that we have here. We're still over budget. It's not possible for us to be under budget. I've gone through this squad over and over again. The only way for us to do it would be to have a squad of less than 24 people. As you can see, we do have a number of people who are unable to be registered. I'll go over things just really, really quickly for you so you know who's in. So Lehmann, we've seen before. This guy, though, Stergios Apostolou is new. I went and picked him up. So just so you know, the original idea behind this was to do like an actual like youth academy challenge, but it would be impossible for us because we can't register players who are younger than 17 at some point in time in the season. And so as a result, we have had to at this level pick up a couple people. We won't do a whole bunch of transfers in the future, but for now, this is what's going to happen. Anyway, Apostolou is a German Greek who speaks German much better than Greek, and he's going to be our right in the back on the right. Said Saber is another one that we went and picked up. I picked him up actually before we went on the big winter break because I knew that we needed something better in defense. So he played a little bit with Erkheim, but not very much. He's going to do, I think, a lot better with us because we know what to do with him. Özkul, Vökel, Michael Finger, and Flaig, so that's nothing new. I will say, though, that in midfield, eventually, we're going to have Vedat Ekitsi come in. Ekitsi started his career with us, but was too young to play for us, but now we can register him and actually play him, I think. He's injured, however. He's got a torn groin muscle, so he's going to be out for a little while. We have a couple of other players here, Rogalski and Stamulis, who unfortunately are unable to be registered, as well as John Pitts. So these three will eventually be okay, but they're ineligible. Stamulis actually can't be registered at all, so I don't know what the story is there. But whatever the story is there, we'll deal with that later. And then we have another person up front. Thorsten Weiler is another one who I went and picked up. They tell me he's not good enough. He probably actually is good enough. He's German and was playing for Halmstetten before, and we just sort of picked him up and stole him off. He has 17 goals, 10 assists, 4 player of the match. So this looks like a really, really good signing. This is why I don't pay any attention to what any of the star ratings say. So there we have it. And the other news today for you is that we're going to try to do 2 matches instead of 1 to sort of make up for the lost time, and also so that we have a little bit of fun. We can get things going kind of the way that we want them. So we're going to go ahead and give players numbers. I always just do auto number. like that sort of thing, the player number assignment and stuff, FM Football Manager really could do a lot with it, and they never do. So whatever. Team talks and stuff, I just let the assistant cover all that. I'm not going to worry too much about that. We're going to pretend that we're playing this sort of like as FM26, where we don't actually do any interacting with the game. We just push continue, right? Not exactly, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun to play this than it is to play FM26, I'll tell you that. If you're new to the project, I will tell you that yes, I am playing a very old version of Football Manager. This is FM17, and we're playing it in part out of frustration with FM26. Flaig has it up there, Flaig up to Kutsu, and Kutsu does win in the end, and then his shot unfortunately was wide. Kutsu is the sort of player that our assistants tell us can't really play at this level, but he's been playing very, very well for us and is scoring goals for fun. So we are always going to keep our eyes out on him. Finger now with the shot, and this goes high and over the goal, so nothing really happens there. And now it's Apostolu with his throw-in over to Finger to Michael, and there is a shot that is saved, very, very barely saved by the Neugeborn keeper, and so there you have it. I think I said their name wrong actually, so we'll wait a little bit here for this to come up. Now we have the replay. We'll take a closer look at Michael's shot, and that really had top corner written all over it. That was an amazing save, honestly. And so Neuga Blunts is what I should have said. Flaig is able to knock this out of the danger area, and that is Apostolu who knocks it out. That's a pretty good job of defending. Let's see if we can get the ball off of them and get a little bit of a counter attack. Apostolu's working on it, but he's called for the foul, unfortunately. They're probably going to give him a yellow card, I'm guessing. And so nothing new. Our player's still picking up cards as usual. Nope, it's kept in the pocket, so maybe something is a little bit different. When it comes to highlights like that, by the way, I love this old 2D mode. Apostolu stops a little bit, is tackled, wins the ball back over to Michael, to Kutsu. Kutsu's shot is deflected. Apostolu down, looking for the cross. Kutsu didn't see him. So we still need to work a little bit on getting these guys on the same page, but I do think that this is looking a little bit better than it was before. As you can see over on the left side, we're kind of stuck in 8th place. Is not the worst thing in the world, but we would like to be doing maybe a little bit better than this, so we'll see if we can figure something out to sort of improve a little bit as time goes on. It goes over to Finger with it, and there's a shot, another great save by their keeper. Brouwer has it now, and he looks for Michael and can't quite get in there. Finger ends up grabbing this in the back, and so things are going to reset just a little bit. Finger over to Apostolu. And there's going to be a foul there on Feistel for Neuga Blunts. And so we get another shot at this, and it's raining now. Look at that. It's raining now as we look at this highlight, and that was a great shot by Finger. That took an excellent save to stop that one from going in. So we're still having some problems trying to score goals, but this is nothing new. We're kind of used to this sort of problem. Brouwer kicks it forward, ends up with Saber, and he just can't get it in, and we'll get another corner out of that one. That was really unlucky. So they've had really good goalkeeping here in the first half, and we look like we're going to score any minute now. Brouwer with that corner, but it is knocked out. Finger now forward, but it doesn't happen. Apostolu, and he's looking for Michael, it was, and couldn't quite find him. Then this goes all the way back into our own zone, and so that's the end of that. I wonder if the rain isn't having a little bit of an impact on these players. It looks like they might not necessarily be having the happiest time in the world out there. Brouwer here with a free kick, and that goes far wide, unfortunately. Remember, we're used to seeing that from Brouwer. So the one real hole in his game is his inability to make those free kicks, and they have scored. Douche ends up scoring for them, and it's completely against the run of play. They've only had 40% possession. That was their first shot on target, and this is just a total defensive breakdown. This is actually the reason why we were trying to improve our defense. My assistants tell me that Foucault is not really good in goal. I actually disagree. I think that he's actually pretty good, but he wasn't very good that time. So so it is. And at the very bottom, if you didn't see it, it was asking us, surely the second half can only get better, right? And I tend to think that it hopefully can, but we'll keep an eye on some of these guys and see who we need to bring out. Brouwer with it now. Brouwer looking down, and he has the ball simply stripped from him. This is a little bit frustrating. So They are in ninth place. They're right below us in the league. So it's not like, this is a team that, is far below us in the league table or anything like that. But we still really could use a win here. A win would potentially put us up to 7th. We want to climb the ladder as much as we possibly can, if it is possible for us to do so, and see what kind of improvements we can make with this team. But unfortunately, we have to win the ball back first. Brouwer gets it over to Weiler. Weiler with his first real action here for us over to Kutsu, and that's always going to go in. That should look really familiar to you if you've been paying attention to this, because Kutsu is the king of scoring from this position. It's just absolutely incredible the sort of things that he can do. Every single time you see Kutsu come into this sort of situation, he always will score. He will never miss that. So Kutsu scores once again, remains our leading scorer. Yeah, go ahead. We'll tell them that we should play defense. Finger with the shot, and it goes up and over, and that's the end of that. So we're doing all right. Neuge Ballons are still hanging in there, but I think that we had a well-deserved goal, and I think that it would be nice for us to have another one if we can get it. But unfortunately, they have the ball in a good attacking position. It's Brouwer hitting that out over to Weiler. Weiler, and this is forward for Kutsu, but it's an awful pass. So we still need to get a little bit of that cohesion. Looks like we don't quite know exactly where it is that we're going. We have to take it away here from Douche, and it goes over to Fischer. Lehmann, though, with a very good challenge. Uzko with it now to Michael, over to Lehmann again. They do that little triangle trick, and they do it once again. Michael now with it, over to Flaig, and we'll see if we can do another little triangle pass formation. Apostolo with it, forward to Kutsu, and it's just off the post. I think it was off the side post and didn't go in. And this ends up being a throw for us. We'll take a look at this. This is actually a great angle for this. It was Flaig down to Apostolo. And here is that excellent centering pass. And Kutsu normally scores that. It was actually off of the crossbar is what happened. It just barely stayed out. So that's a lot of really bad luck for us. And hopefully that doesn't end up costing us 2 more potential points. We'll see if we can get this turned around a little bit. It would be nice if we could get the ball in an attacking position. Again, we still have had the best of the game. They, again, only have had 1 shot on target. It was Brouwer here taking the free kick, and that ends up hitting off the wall. At least we got it to the wall this time instead of just kicking it over the goal. It still is low-level football manager, right? It still is sort of the lower levels, the lower leagues. In theory, it should be really easy. In reality, it never is easy, and we're running out of time. Lehmann with the throw over to Finger. Finger back to Lehmann. Michael. To Brouwer. Can we get a last-second bit of magic in here over to Saber? Saber. To Finger. Down to Flaig. And we need to get this ball forward. Michael, they're going to blow the whistle any second now. Kutsu with it. And that's it. So it was a little bit too much sort of passing the ball around left and right and not really attacking. And the assistant says we should have won that match. I actually agree with that. We absolutely should have won that match. And so we'll move on. And so for now, I'm going to stop this, and we're going to come back to you in a second. So I'll talk to you in a second. All right, guys. Well, apologies for the sound of the heater in the background. I do have something I want to tell you really quickly. If you enjoy the videos that I make, and if you want to support them and make sure that there's more of them in the future, please consider supporting the channel. There are 2 ways to do it. You can become a paying member on YouTube, which is something like $5 a month, or you can go over onto Patreon and get a subscription, also varying from $5 a month on up, and varying levels will give you different types of access to things, including my library of old sporting events on video and audio, which right now is about 8.5 terabytes worth of data and growing. I still have a lot of stuff to add, so please keep that in mind and give that a thought if you're interested in supporting the channel and supporting the work that I do here. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and just get straight back into this. So yeah, that was a draw that was a little bit frustrating for us. We're going to be playing against Bobenhausen again. This time we're going to be on the road. And I don't think that we have any tactical changes here that really need to be made. I'm trying to look here and see. And look at this. I was incorrect. It looks like Akitsi still cannot play because he's still a little bit too young. So we have to wait until next season for him. Unfortunately, in FM17, it doesn't always make it very clear to you when you're not like in the middle of, you know, the matches and stuff like that, that he can't actually play. So whatever. This guy, Florent Pacarada, I'm sorry, I don't speak Kosovoan. I should say Serbian. He is another one who recently came in, but he got his knee ligament injured. He's out for about 2 to 4 more weeks. But the idea is eventually to put him up front as well. So we'll see what happens. We may have one too many people to play up front because we definitely want Kutsu to still be in there. I think it would be between him and Weiler. So we'll see what happens. This team, though, still looks pretty good to me. I think the one possible change we could make is we could look at having Rausch go in on the right side instead of Apostolu. And the reason why is because Rausch is a little bit faster. So, I mean, potentially we could do it. They're kind of similar, though, in terms of speeds. I think we're going to stick with sort of what we have here. So let's go ahead and just sort of hop on forward. And we'll go to all of this stuff. We'll just start the match. And let's see what we can do. So we are over in blue again today. Mikhail wins this off over to Brouwer. Brouwer forward, looking for Weiler. Couldn't quite find him. But Saber does a good job in the back to keep this in. Apostolo over to Brouwer with the man running in past him. And unfortunately not much happened there. Apostolo with the throw over to Finger. Back to Apostolo. So normally I would say, well, maybe we screwed up the magic that we had over here, but I don't really think so. I mean, it's not like we had a great team before anyway. I do think that we're improving slowly. But what we really need to figure out how to do is how to get out of this league and like get moved up and eventually turn into an actual full-time club instead of being sort of part-timers. Those are the two things I'm really looking for. Lehmann with an early yellow card. I mean, the match is like a minute old. That's not a good sign. So let's have a little bit less of that if we possibly can. And yeah, let's get this ball back if we can. Uskul ends up winning this. So normally today would be my day to have a full video, like a scripted video for this channel, but I decided instead that it was more important for me to like try to get this series going again. And it took me about as much time to get this going again as it would have to make like a full, you know, normal video. I think it was the right move. Kutsu to Weiler, did you see that? And now Kutsu has an assist. Weiler with his 18th goal of the season, but his first for us. And that makes it 1-0 for Bobingen, and I knew that that guy was going to be a good signing. Kutsu, by the way, is an absolutely incredible player. This guy has just been amazing for us so far. He's been showing up in all of the clutch situations. This is a really good sign for us. I do not think that we are going to even stand a chance of hitting first position. That's what Dinkelscherben up there. There's a very slim chance we might be able to get up to second. I really doubt it. But it would be nice for us to get up past 8th into something like 7th, 6th, something like that. That's what I'm really looking for. Brouwer with it over to Kutsu, and he has it taken away from him, so much for that. That's sort of the way it is, you know, it's a big grind. That's Football Manager for you. Weiler with it now, over to Brouwer. Brouwer trying to find space, and he's fouled by Schultz. Is that going to be a card? I think it might be. The game did a little bit of a freeze there. Sometimes something happens when you see that. Now he gets a warning is all. Everything's in yellow, so you can't really read it anyway. Brouwer now with a free kick, and this just goes over. One of these days he's going to be able to get those down, and when he gets them down he's going to be really dangerous. But we've had a whole lot of this so far in the save, and that one just barely missed too. I mean, it's not like he was missing by a whole lot, so he's showing that he's got the potential to bend it like Beckham, but he can't quite do that yet, which is okay because we're in the 7th tier of the German system. I'm not even sure if this tier still exists because when I do research on it, I can't find much information. Everything I found was in English. I mean, like the German Wikipedia page has no information. Brouwer with this now over to Kutsu. He must be offside. And it's Heigl, the keeper, who knocks that one away. But he must have been offside. That looked really suspicious to me. Brouwer with the corner over to Mikhail. Mikhail then slows it down instead of attacking. Not sure what we're doing here. Back to Brouwer. There is that attacking pass, and Fingo was offside, so much for that. So we know already, as we watch this replay, we know already what the future of this club is going to hold. We just need to wait a little bit for these guys to turn the right age. But once we get past sort of this initial foray into the season and start getting into the good stuff, that's when you're going to start seeing storylines play out, and it's going to get a lot of fun. Mikhail with the shot, and it's just barely saved. So we're looking to add to our goal scoring total here. Mikhail did a very, very good shot here. Mikhail has scored before, of course, as you know. He's one of those players that I picked up on a free transfer who was just a complete free agent and nobody ever heard of him. So it goes from nothing to being a star here. Kutsu's gone down. I think it was a flop, but Schultz ends up getting the yellow card anyway. Bauer now, and his shot goes up and over. It's kind of funny that they just showed me the replay of that, sort of showing it in the 2D mode. So there's still a couple of like glitches here and there with the match engine. I thought for a while about turning off the 3D replays, but then it felt like something was missing. Anyway, here comes Kutsu with the shot, and that doesn't do anything. So the overall goal behind this, of course, is to make like, you know, scripted videos that go through this and summarize things and all that stuff. And for that, this actually will end up looking a little bit better than just the dots moving around. Although I do kind of like the dots too. We could do maybe a little mix of both. Let's see sort of what my creative abilities give me. Kutsu was trying for a chip shot, but the keeper was playing back. I'm not quite sure what he was thinking. So who knows? Anyway, 1-0 it is as we go into the half. I just realized that in the previous match, I didn't make any substitutions, and maybe that's part of the reason why we lost. You guys are supposed to warn me about stuff like that. Mikhail looking for Kutsu. I'm not sure where that pass was. This is this is a problem with cohesion that we're having here so far. And anyway, we're letting them in behind us. Maniatis over to Zickert, and fortunately it was Saber who ended up sacrificing the body to get in front of that shot. So fortunately that one does not go in. Senel now with the corner, and it's Finger who wins that. He thought that he had somebody next to him, and he didn't. Brouwer now with it, looking to attack. Look at that pass to Kutsu. I don't know how he even saw him. I mean, he's a long, long way away. Kutsu now with it, and this has changed the complexion of our attack. Tolak, I'm not sure how to say that name, ends up tackling him though, and now we're back on our back heels. We only have the 1-goal lead. We have to watch out here, and it's Bauer who has it forward to Zickert, who's wide open all alone. Uzkul ends up heading that away to Bauer, to Kutsu, and over to Weiler. Weiler looking forward. He's trying to get it to Kutsu, and ends up sort of playing around with the ball a little bit too long. He never really had control. They have a throw now a little bit later. We're only 47 minutes into this match, so we still have a lot of time. Lehmann couldn't do much with that. He's on the yellow cards. He has to be careful. Of course, knowing him, he'll get himself sent off. We may just take him off, actually, here in a second, I think. And it's Bauer and Senel, and fortunately for us, they're still playing around with it a little bit. This is kind of what happens when you're playing at this level. Bauer, however, wins it over Kutsu. Kutsu over down to Weiler, and here comes Weiler ahead of his man, and it's just an awful shot at the end. That's really, really a shame because it looked like he was going straight for goal and nothing was ever going to stop him. This is an excellent pass by Kutsu. These two are going to form a partnership, I'm pretty sure of that. I'm not sure, do they have those partnership things in this game? I'm pretty sure that they do, right? I just haven't seen it yet because, of course, we're playing at the, you know, absolute bottom garbage tier of the German league. I shouldn't be that dismissive of the ball, but yeah, this is pretty far down. Let's see if we can stop Zickert. I think that's a good idea, whatever my assistant manager said. And Fugel ends up bringing this one in quite easily. Throws over to Lehmann. Lehmann over to Uzkal. I'm not quite sure what he was trying to do there, but whatever it was, it didn't work. And you think, I mean, we have these sort of like potential passing triangles, just we don't see them. Kutsu must be offside. He has it taken away from him by Zanelli anyway, but Kutsu still looks like he's offside half the time to me anyway. That's probably why he's scoring all these goals. There's no VAR, of course. Mikhail, an excellent move over to Kutsu, and that is not in. Oh man, what a goal line save. How did that not go in? That one went from the bottom half of the goal up to the top half without crossing the line. And I don't know what happened there. I can barely believe my eyes. I've got to see this replay here. It's one of the reasons why we need the replay. So it was Weiler here. The excellent pass to Mikhail, who's barely onside. Kutsu with the shot. And he hits the post, and it goes over to the other post without going in. Somehow or other, they were able to have good luck. Focal picks this up, and I do think we're going to make a substitution. Just so you know, I do understand how to make substitutions in this game, and is Lehmann who I'm most worried about. And I think we're going to put Yilmaz in. Yilmaz is not a particularly good player, but I think we're going to stick him in. And then Flaik is really, we don't have anybody who can really go in for him. We'll put Schreiber in, might as well. And that's probably about it. And it is painful for me not realizing again that those younger players simply can't be registered because they're much better than the players that we have. I would really like to play them if I could. Bauer gets this forward in a great position. It was Kutsu with the pass, and unfortunately he couldn't score. He really should have scored there. As it was telling us on the bottom of the screen, he should have scored. Absolutely should have scored. And let's take another close look at that. So Kutsu had it. Great pass forward to Bauer, who's behind the defense there. Had a single touch, got behind the defense right away, and just couldn't finish the deed. Mikhail with it now. Over to Schreiber. And he scores a goal. How about that? How do you like them apples, huh? So Andre Schreiber with his first goal for Bobingen, and that puts it 2-0. And, of course, that one you're not going to miss. That was about as easy as it comes. This was another good play by Mikhail, and Schreiber has nobody near him, and he just sort of pops it in there. And it's one of those look at what I found things, and that scores it and makes it 2-0. And now we can kind of relax, I think, a little bit and not worry quite as much as we were before. So Schreiber playing out of position, by the way. He came in, he's supposed to be a striker. He's playing midfield. He doesn't have the ability to play there, and he scores a goal. That's what he does on his interesting debut for us. Or, I'm sorry, Schreiber's been on this team for a while. This is not his debut, but that's what he does when he comes in. Anyway, so it is, and 2 goals now for us. We're up in 7th place, and we're going to see if we can sneak forward a little bit, and it's going to take quite a few games for us to have a chance at that. I think that there is a chance that we might end up finishing like 5th or 4th or something. Kutsu now with this on the break. He tries to, go for one of those little chip shots, and it just didn't quite work for him, unfortunately. Kutsu having a very, very good game, and he's kind of hoping that he can, peg another one in. But this one right here just didn't quite work. He had more space than he thought he had, and so that was really what the problem was. Now it's going to be Özkul with this down low over to Yilmaz. Good job by Yilmaz. Looking for midfield, can't find anyone. Saber now, and it's over to Kutsu. I don't know how it finds Kutsu all the time. Kutsu now, and he's got a man, doesn't see him. Didn't see him. He had Weiler all alone, didn't see him, and now he tries to pass, and unfortunately the defense has recovered. And now it's Bauer for them, who has a break, but Fuchel is there to make the save. That's the reason why we still have Fuchel. Bobenhausen had a little bit of a break against the run of play, but didn't quite work out. We'll take another look at this here. So it was Buske here who had this excellent pass over to Bauer. Bauer all alone, and Fuchel was able to cut off the angle and make the save. That's what we wanted Fuchel to be able to do. And Fuchel here with another save, so he's playing quite well. Like I've said, my assistant keeps telling me that we need somebody else in goal, and I think it's absolute rubbish and foolishness. Fuchel, I think, will probably be our keeper for quite some time. He's actually a very good player. I don't know why people think he isn't. Once again, we have about 60% of the possession, which is exactly what we wanted to do. And Finger over looking for Schreiber, couldn't find him, and then it's Bauer with it once again. He's been kind of their danger member. What kind of pass is that? That was ridiculous. And so that's going to be the end of this game. We're going to see, we're not going to see a throw-in. We win this one 2-0. And so 2-0 victory makes us pretty happy, and we tell everybody that we're happy. This puts us up in 7th place. Now we are 7 points behind Otto Beuren. So that would be, we'd have to win basically 3 matches, and they would have to lose 3 matches for us to catch up. But as soon as we can do that, there's a bunch of congestion up here between 2nd place at 40 points and 5th place at 38. So if we can get a slight winning streak going, it's possible that, we could get something really good happening. I don't know that it's going to happen. We might not have enough games left this season, but we'll sort of try and just sort of see what happens. So anyway, there you have it. I hope that you enjoy this. It's going to be kind of a late night sort of upload. I've got a couple of other things to do here before going to bed. So I hope you enjoy this as I sort of sacrifice my sanity and sleep. Actually, it's not really true. I really like doing this. So there you have it. Thanks a whole ton, and I'll talk with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.